He is
We
that.
will call the meeting to order. So first up, we have approval of the agenda as presented.
Moved.
Second. All in favor? Carried. And number 3, adoption of minutes. So the regular meeting of council, September 9th. Motion being that the minutes of the regular council meeting held September 9th be adopted as presented.
Moved.
Second. Moved by Dusty, seconded by Councilor Richard Smith. All in favor? Any errors or omissions? None opposed? Carried. And minutes of the special regular meeting of council, September 30th. Motion?
Moved.
That the minutes are adopted as presented, yeah. Seconded by Councilor Sean. All in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Okay, right up the bat, we have delegation tonight. So we have Danny Bichon here from the Open District Arts Council, providing an update regarding the public concert series in the park. And you have the floor.
This is where I stand, right?
Betcha.
Seems like a really place. Hi, everybody. So I'm Danny. I've lived here for 4 years, and as long as I've lived here, I've been volunteering as the organizer of concerts in the park. This spring, I was voted Vice President of the Arts Council, who is the presenter. Before I get started about concerts in the park, Arts Council has been very active. They have 12 classes a week at the Art Machine. They have local visual artists given a venue at the art gallery, and they're also hosting a number of annual events. Fill Your Bowl, Mugs and Munchies, the Art Bus to Granville Island, an art auction, Winter Fest, garage sales, and a bunch more. And of course, they're also responsible for concerts in the park. So in the past 4 years that I've been responsible for concerts in the park, I made a couple of changes. One is that I started consistently booking the shows every week, whereas before sometimes it would skip a week. I also implemented a different genre each week. I've started doing annual community surveys to find out what people think. And I've done the professional graphic design, digital advertising, moved the time slot from Saturday afternoons to Friday evenings, and trying to book more double headers, budget permitting. So, who's doing the clicking, by the way?
I was like scrolling for it.
Okay, cool. So this is just sort of left over from our sponsorship deck. I thought the growth by numbers would be the most interesting part. One thing to note is that my 2015 shows number on the left is incorrect, bottom left. That's supposed to be 107 shows, but other than that, all these are accurate numbers. So as you can see, we've increased the number of shows each year, except for in the last year, because what we're doing is every Friday night in July and August. And then on the total attendance has gone up by almost 1,000 people this year from last year, and you can see it's consistently growing every year. Average attendance is up as well, so you might be like, yeah, that's because you have 9 shows, and really it's that, and it's also there are more people coming for each show. Also, when I started, we were counting tour buses, so we'd be like, oh, there's like 20 people. Really, they're just staying, taking a picture, and leaving. But now all those people are actually staying and hanging out and bringing picnics and stuff like that. Funds raised, that's just an FYI. I've been scouting local sponsorship, and so we have a BC Gaming grant that does $5 grand for us, and then the rest is local businesses sponsoring it. So this is just an overview here of the shows that we had this year, and the turnout there, and the weather, the date, etc. The average turnout being the 320. I just wanted to do a shout out to the volunteers because I got to give them shout outs wherever possible. We had some help, some photographers this year, people helping to do the picking the bands, and of course Matt Turner at every show with me putting up that windscreen. Thanks for the windscreen, guys. So then I just want to quickly go over the survey results. So this is the survey I put out. We did only have 47 respondents at the time of me creating this report. I think there was another 10 since, but it doesn't really change the results too overly much. So most of our respondents are from Hope. Keep going there. Most of our respondents are also female, which is interesting. And I should say the only place I advertised for the survey was online. So all these people are using Facebook. Most likely, or have visited our website. So the people that aren't on Facebook wouldn't have seen that this survey was an opportunity for them to fill out. You can see there that we have no teenagers answering our survey. This is my like goal in life, is to get some teenagers out at our shows. But generally everybody's attended the concerts in the past. Everybody likes it, except for one person who didn't attend any shows, so that was interesting. So, and I know this because I asked them which shows they attended, right? 90% of people are happy with the time slot. There's a few people that are like, hey, can you make the party go longer? I have a lot of reasons why I don't want to do that, including it gets dark at the end of summer, and people are kind of like paper bagging it in the park sometimes, and that can get carried away too. So I think an earlier end time is the responsible choice there. So ask them how they want to find out about the concerts. Scroll, thank you. And I think that this is skewed because I posted the survey to Facebook, so most of these people are like, yay, Facebook. And then I asked people which shows they attended, just to get an idea of, you know, when they, because I asked them later to select a genre or the genres that they want to see in the next year, and so this way I get an idea for if they were, you know, the world fans in the first place or whatever. So anyways, and I asked this question because hilariously we ended up with 4 classic rock bands this year, which is against my MO. Like, the plan is to do a different genre every week. So I was like, hey guys, what do you think of that? And most people don't mind one way or another. Some people were like, yay, I love classic rock, and then a number of people wanted a better balance for the genres. And then here I just asked them what genres they want to see in the park. You can see there's mostly rock, bluegrass, and then a lot of people saying that I get just to do whatever I want, which is really nice. People love the music, bringing the community together, the atmosphere, visiting with friends and family, etc. And improvements, more food trucks, which I'm sure you probably know is harder to do than you might think, because we don't have any food trucks in Hope. Or we had the one, we had, what were they called? Picos. They came to most of the shows and then they stopped coming at the end. And I think that was to do with they were just too busy. And then Panago got hit with a major rush, and everybody had boxes of pizza in the park and stuff. That was pretty fun. So this, you can actually just skip through this. This was just me doing some research about whether or not I should do other shows outside of concerts in the park, and then the incidents. So this is just an FYI. We did have a show where we had to ask an intoxicated person to get off the stage. He was like laying on the stage when the band was playing. It was during the chainsaw carving weekend, which obviously I know is a huge hit and success, and there's lots of people there. That was actually our most well-attended show, in part because of the chainsaw carvings. Yeah, it was really, really awesome that there was security there, because they were able to help me when he was doing other crazy things all over the park. And so that was really nice. I just wanted to say, I think you organized that, right?
The
chainsaw carving event?
I did not, Councilor Smith.
Yeah, great, thank you. And thank you for like keeping the security there during our show, putting up the windscreens, taking down or like letting us leave the windscreens up. That was amazing. Made our jobs a lot easier, so thank you. We did have an injury. We had a small dog attack 2 attendees. That they drew blood. I called in a friend who fixed it up, but it was kind of crazy, and got me thinking that we might want to have a first aid tent there at some point, which is currently out of budget, but we'll see what happens. And there was basically, we need to, personally, internally, we need to figure out something to do with the lost and found, because we find all kinds of stuff, but I'm not sure if we should be bringing it here or just hanging on to it at the Arts Council or what, but I think
if it's not a lot, bring it here, we'll put it behind.
I kind of thought that may make sense because it's so close. And the last thing that's not on the list that I forgot to put on there, it's not even an incident, is just I have lots of requests for more toilet paper in the bathroom, because it's a busy event and it runs out. So that's all I had to say about that. I just want to let you know how we're doing.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good, yeah. Yeah, thanks. I attended a couple of the events myself, and they're definitely, I'd say, more attended this year than last year, just looking at the crowd on the ones that I went to.
Yeah.
I like your data too with the weather and all that stuff, so it kind of lets you know that just poorly attended maybe because of poor weather, but it looks like most of the days were pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, we really lucked out with the weather this year. We had no major rain or anything like that. It was awesome.
So I appreciate the work you do. It's nice
you.
to have that in hope, and it's good. Any comments?
Oh
or
yeah, Eric, questions I should ask.
So with the wind screens and that was with the district, because, you know, worked park because we were there all the time, so they could leave them up.
Yeah.
And then the washrooms too, that we try to keep an eye on, because we had a key also, you know, to make sure that we looked after a little better. And security really helped this year. There was a few incidents that kind of got looked after and that, and didn't wreck everybody's evening, so.
You mean for the chainsaw thing or for
Oh, yeah,
all of the
chainsaw
concerts? Oh yeah, no, it was.
And then we
It
had,
was definitely like a tighter ship that night than it was on the other nights.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then but it really helped us with the event too. You know, people come to the music after. I mean, everybody it just flowed one into the other. That's
Yeah.
what happens when everybody, you
It
know,
was
fits
awesome.
in their parts, so it was really good, so.
Yeah, great. Glad you enjoyed it as well.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you for
Any
listening.
other questions? All right. Another delegation, we have Victor Smith, who's the chairperson for Communities in Bloom, here to present the district with stuff.
So, this was a very good year for Communities in Bloom. So,
You have it?
yeah. Anyway, so what happens is we get a report card from them, and each one of the council will get a copy of it, and Mr. Fortalowski and also the office has. So if anybody wants to see, everybody does have a copy of that. So what it is, our report card tells us how well we did. So this year we did 89 out of 100, which is very, very high, the highest we've ever had. And each year we have different things. So this year, the Christ Church Scattering Garden, which a few of us were there, with Mr. Mason sitting right there in the corner. He's working on a Santa Claus beard, by the way. He was out hunting. Anyway, it's a very good little project. We very much enjoy that because a lot of people don't want to have graveyards or can't afford it. So then, you know, it's built there, so you put some ashes in there and then you put a plaque inside the church. So it's a really very neat thing for town, and they were very impressed with that. Of that. The Continual Church. The judges are always, I didn't read that stuff. The judges are always challenged to find something that stands out for special mention. A community like Hope has many features and programs that are worthy of being recognized for special mention. This year, the judges have chosen the Christ Church Scattering Garden for this honor. Over the past couple of years, these gardens located at Christ Church have developed to help the church pastors and the Communities in Bloom committee. The 3 floral beds are construction of man-made rock and provide tranquility, resting peace of ashes for the loved ones. Anyway, it was very neat. It was what a great idea for the town in that, too. So what really helps too with this here is the fact that we work so well with the district. You know, Kevin and John G are excellent, you know, about helping out and everything else. But also, Mr. Fortalowski and the mayor always have met, you know, with that, which is very important for us. They always have time in that, and his door is always open for this. He knows how the Communities in Bloom program works. He was involved way back before I got here. So our report card just tells all the different things, environmental action, different things we do, you know, to clean up to make it a part of it. So we're very happy this year that we won the award. And I'll get Scott to come up here and we can get a picture with our banner for the town here. Who's taking a picture?
I can use your phone or something.
You can do mine.
Your phone?
Yeah.
All right, let me see here.
You two are in the paper enough, aren't you?
Well, it's actually a run because one of the co-founders of this event was his wife. So it's ironic to be part of it. Anyway, we're sure very happy to be a part of this.
Teresa sneaks up to get the pictures too.
Hey, for the website, for
I know.
the Facebook
She's
page.
very good with the picture and the things on the CIB page.
Move this away too.
All right, ready? All right.
Perfect.
Awesome.
So the event was held down in Westwood Plateau Golf Course, very nice place. So we took a bus down, some of our volunteers and everything else. And then when we were down there, special thing happened. One of our big volunteers here, Teresa, won the Volunteer of the Year award for BC.
While we were sitting at the table, and I said to the person next to me, "Oh, Victor won that award." The Community Champion Award, I can't even remember what it is, but I have proof. Here's his checker. So you win you win the checkerboard and a checker with your name on it for a whole year. I've already played the game. I've already lost to a 9-year-old. But the award is called the Community Champion Award, and I was very proud because I've been working on Communities in Bloom along with Victor since 2006. And I was there today cleaning up the berm across from Conductor there, because somebody's got to do it, and I can do it.
So,
Come on up here.
John, please.
So, I think it's really special. I mean, you taught both my kids kindergarten, right? Very involved with my wife at the start. So when I found out that you won the provincial championship, I thought, fantastic. So, little certificate from the district.
Well, then I get to keep something instead of just my checker that I have to give back.
I drove by the berm there on 6th Avenue, and I saw you out there weeding the garden. I think it was yesterday or the day before.
I was there yesterday, I was there today.
And I thought, wow, just fantastic. So you're such a champion of the community.
Teresa, do you want to turn it in?
Yeah,
John.
come on in, John.
Thank you so much.
Good work. Keep it up.
Thank you.
I think it's really great that Communities in Bloom has been going for 12, 13 years. A lot of communities do it for 3, 4 years and then it kind of dies off, but we just keep making it happen, so that's a really good thing.
When it goes to the national level, I was at a conference and everybody there was mayor and council, none of the volunteers. It seemed weird, and so next week the volunteers quit, so there's nothing goes. So hope is very strong. We have a nice mix of everybody here. You know, for the volunteers and the district employees is probably the best of anywhere in the province.
And that's mentioned in the report card.
Yeah, how well we do so. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll move on to staff reports. Item A, declassification of in-camera motion. So the motion reads that council declassified the May 13th, 2019 in-camera resolution. That council has considered, and the motion was that council has considered section 285, subsection 2 of the Local Government Act and authorizes staff to negotiate with the owner of the property at 61614 Yale Road, PID 012-382-507, to purchase at fair market value the unconstructed road closure portion of the District of Hope land at the west end of Yale Road. So motion to declassify. Mover, Councillor Tron, Councillor Victor Smith, I guess was first. Any questions or all in favor? Any opposed? Carried. And item B, report dated September 24th from the Director of Finance re the grant and aid policy. I guess we'll put a motion on the floor first that the grant and aid policy amendment be adopted this 15th day of October 2019. Could I mover? Mover, seconder, Councillor Tron. Mr. Fordowski.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Acting Mayor, the current policy is set to expire at the end of this year, so we need to renew the policy, and as proposed in the report, it reflects current council wishes that it be capped at $10,000 annually for this particular grant and aid program. You'll recall earlier, previous council had discussed and had in fact put in policy to reduce it to zero, however there was a change of direction. So we have listened to council, clearly brought this forward with your intentions in mind. So there's the report, but also the draft policy with the changes that are highlighted in red. So this policy would go from the years 2020 to 2024 with the $10,000 set as the limit. And for the general public, I think it's important that they recognize this does not include the 3 organizations that have budget line item amounts. That includes Hope Care Transit, Communities in Bloom, and no part.
Herbst Council. Yeah. Herbst Council, 5,000 each. Yeah, thanks for that, and I think just, it's fair to note too that in some years we have requests that are greater than the $10,000 ask, and some years we've had requests that are less than. We got a mover and a second, or is there any discussion from council? No? All in favor? None opposed, so that carries. Item C, this is an important one. So report dated October 7th, 2019 from the CAO, read the signage plan and design standards. So the motion reads that council adopt the signage plan and design standards dated March 2019 as prepared as part of the Rural Dividend Grant Program. Mr. Bordalowski, you want to speak to that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This was part of the Rural Dividend Grant as per the report. So there was a large scope of work that was conducted, and in fact we'll talk about something else tonight as a result of the work regarding the dividend grant. The signage plan and design standards that you see here, a copy you have electronically. We have to credit Allie Hardwood a lot from Boldfish Creative for her work, and she was directly involved in the earlier branding guidelines and the overall branding effort by the district and Advantage Hope. These guidelines reflect a lot of the, well, quite frankly, all the kiosks and signs that have been put up as a result of the dividend grant program. They do harmonize well with the brand, and it was always the intention that this work be adopted for use within the district. And as mentioned in the report, we'll figure out exactly how to do that within the sign bylaw, whether or not it be made a regulation or the sign bylaw be adopted. We'll get back to council with this. In any case, the amount of work is significant, and the effects and the compliments that we get on the street, as it were, for the signage that have gone up as a result of this program have been spectacular. So we do recommend it be adopted, and we'll come back to council with exactly how.
Just quick question on it. Just so on that part of it, it'll be standardized for what anybody can use with the district logo then? Like, is that like through the sign bylaw and stuff like that for the?
Mr. Mayor, this relates to design of kiosks and information signs. As far as using the copyrighted logo, that's part of the branding guidelines. That's kept within that document. And of course, the copyright is held for within the District of Hope for their use.
Okay. One other question on it too. There's parks and stuff like that that are within the district that would go with the regional district as well. If for some of their parks like Thacker, Marsh and stuff like that, I know they've just done signage, which kind of collate already to our signage, but down the road if they updated them to their standards, would that come into coalition with part of this?
We can share the standard with the region. Clearly, it's a different jurisdiction.
Yep.
Now, they may consider using and informing their decisions on this, considering our community, but we'll certainly pass that on once adopted.
Just co-aligning with it.
Okay. I think your question's though for the regional parks that are within the District of Hope.
Yeah, like some of them now, like they do almost kind of look to this brand already. I'm just meaning like in future development, if they do changes and stuff like that, to co-align with it so that everybody's on the same page.
We'll certainly encourage it.
Yeah, there's nothing for us to say that they have to, but we push that they would.
We're partners.
Yep. Okay.
I thought it was a lot of work that went into that document, and it definitely does the community well to have that as an adopted document that we can keep as a policy. So we need a mover and a seconder. We need to make a motion. Councillor Smith, Councillor Cron. Any further discussion? All in favor? None opposed, so carried. And another important one, this is a big document. So item D is the Trails Master Plan 2019. So the motion we'll get forward before discussion is that council adopt the Trails Master Plan 2019 as presented as part of the Rural Dividend Grant Program. Got a mover for discussion? Moved by Councillor Smith, second by Councillor Smith. So again, well, maybe Mr. Forlowski can speak to it first. If you will.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a bit of history on this. Again, this was a result of the Rural Dividend Grant, a significant grant. It is a significant amount of work, as Councillor Scott Medlock has mentioned. There was a trails inventory that was done earlier, and it's in the report, and it was dated, I believe it was 2013, 2012. Yeah. And that was more of an inventory. this particular document is in fact a master plan, and it lays out ways to improve the situation. And some mention of some of the potential projects. For example, making a continuous trail along the Coquihalla River. What about the properties that occupy the dike tops, et cetera, et cetera? Those questions are considered in this document and potential ways to address them. It updates the number and types of trails. It also has possible additions to the trails. Again, a significant amount of work, and particular thanks has to go to Stephanie for all her work, Stephanie Hooker, and the team's work. It is a joint document done in cooperation with other groups like the Fraser Valley Mountain Bike Association, etc. It is also a regional document, so this will definitely have to be shared with the region because some of the trails obviously cross our district boundaries as we move forward. And the impact of this is significant because it will be considered for future development, future OCP inclusion, and in fact, you'll note in the report that it is supported, the OCP calls for information and documents like this, as it supports economic diversification by taking advantage of our natural assets. It also encourages the use of green corridors to provide opportunity for walking, cycling, and promote healthy and active living. And it promotes hope as an outdoor recreation destination, again, based on its natural assets. So this is, from a staff perspective, and certainly our opinion from a community perspective, a very useful document that will assist us moving forward.
Thank you for that. So yeah, I was a bit more familiar with this document, I guess, from in the past with the inventory, and it's been completely updated. It covers everything from local trails in the Coquihalla River Park, and mountain bike park, as well as things outside of our community, and it kind of prioritizes them all with time, cost, benefit, and desire to upgrade in the community. So I think that this is definitely a document that we don't want to have sit on the shelf. I think that Public Works needs to take it into consideration when forming their budget requests for the upcoming years as far as maintenance on the current official trails that we have, like the Flood Falls Trail and everything through the Coquihalla River Park. As far as upkeep and maintenance, because we cannot always rely on volunteers, we're going to definitely need to put some dollar figures into that. And then I think, what is the next step? Would it be to present to the Fraser Valley Regional District to have them look at a potential adoption as well to form a larger understanding of what could happen within the region? And I think that the Okanagan-Similkameen Regional District should also take a look, because I think some of the trails come from like Tulameen and that side of things that are mentioned in the document, right?
Mr. Mayor, that's correct. So we will share them with both regional districts. How they want to officially adopt or endorse or use them is really up to them. However, we do want to ensure, as I'm sure you're concerned with, that cooperation is maintained to take the most advantage out of the opportunities presented with trails and recreation.
I would like to actually see them presented to those regional districts in a way that would be more meaningful than just simply scanning the document and sending it to them. I think it bears more weight that way. So that's the direction I'd like to see it. But yeah, those are my thoughts for sure. I'd like to see it used, not just put on a shelf and referred to once in a while. I want to see it become part of the decision-making process moving forward, especially from an upkeep and maintenance point of view, but certainly also from a development point of view, like from recreation, like looking at opportunities to move forward on gaining access and proper tenure on some of the trails. You know, there's been a push in the province for mountain bike tourism, and it mentions that there's a whole section in there with potential trails. You know, I spoke to several councillors at UBCM that were in communities that have successfully done such things, and it's been really good for their communities. So yeah, I think that's great. Any other comments from council? So it's been moved and seconded. Any, I guess, all in favor? None opposed. That carries as well. No committee reports. So mayor and council reports. I'll start off with an acting mayor report. So it's been a while since we had an official open council meeting. and that was prior to the UBCM convention, so I'll keep it short and sweet because we can talk about that all day long. But yeah, it was another good conference, certainly well worth attending. On the first day I took part in the agricultural tour again, and we went out to Abbotsford and toured a couple of farms, learned a lot about how that works. Still have a lot of hope as far as agriculture goes. We've got a long way to go to get to where some of our neighboring communities are at though. And yeah, some of the sessions that they went to were somewhat relevant, I guess, to things that we're going through, but I think the biggest part for me at UBCM was the networking and talking to mayors and councillors from around the province and seeing what's been going on in their communities and what works for them. So definitely keep those conversations top of mind as we move forward making decisions. The week following that, Councillor Smith and I, in another role as directors with Community Futures, went to the annual conference that was held in Kelowna this year, and that was packed full of excellent presentations, a bit of a focus on tech, I guess. We went had a tour of the Kelowna Innovates Tech Hub building, where a lot of startup type companies have come together and co-share the space, and that was really something, and I kind of would like to see something like that happen and hope on a smaller scale. That was quite the undertaking, that building, but it was a government involved, provincial, federal, and municipal government and private investment that got that building off the ground, and it's done a lot for their community. They threw out some statistics there, like there's the tech industry in BC employs more people than logging, mining, and fishing combined. So it's a big deal going on, and they're kind of like become the central hub of it all there. So that was really something. It was an excellent conference. I'm glad we got to attend that. And then the week following that, Mr. Kordolowski and myself attended the Fraser Basin Council Flood Forum down in Vancouver. So that was an opportunity for us to have input into a strategy to do with flood mitigation of the Fraser Basin from, I guess, from Hope to the Salish Sea and from Squamish to the US border. So they've developed over the last couple of years some modeling as to look like, as to what a flood might look like at different year events, like 200-year event or a 500-year event, and where breaches might happen in current diking systems, and talking about different protection measures, not necessarily all diking, but flood storage, for having some farmland perhaps that would be acceptable for flooding on purpose to stop the water from taking out communities further downstream, that kind of thing. So I was totally naive to the whole situation. I didn't really know what to expect, but I learned a lot there. We got to work in little groups, and it was a very interactive type forum, and big document for us to fill out and submit with some questions so that they can move forward with that. So we're in I guess the second stage of a 3-step process, and this is forming the strategy. So the Fraser Basin Council staff will be taking all of the considerations from over 50 partners of that organization, including municipalities, First Nations, Fortis Hydro, private and companies, things like that, that all have an interest in protecting their assets from flood, and for safety as well as infrastructure. So they'll form the strategy, and then the next stage, of course, will be implementation. So we've looked at how that would look, and who would be involved, and how would it roll out, and what type of a model would it be, and funding situations and all that. So that was a couple days of good information then too. That's, I guess, all I have to report. Councillor Smith on the end.
You probably missed one thing that you'll go back and comment on. This past weekend was the Rambo weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't take part in any of the activities. I just drove by when everybody's doing their walking tour. I can't express enough gratitude for those that were involved. I think another big person, Advantage Hope took this on, but another big person within that organization is Brian McKinney. I think he's still bleeding Rambo. I think he needs a big thank you on this, because he kind of runs with this Rambo thing, and as much as it's been 37 years, it still brings people into town, and he gets the exposure to the town. Even if they're coming there for the Rambo thing and he pushes that off, he takes them to places and shows them around, or gives them the self-guided tour, their map. that gets people to realize the Hope's more than just a place that Ramble was just filmed in. It's a beautiful place to live in. So I think that's a big thing. Everybody says, oh, let's get over the Ramble thing. It was 37 years ago. I still think take it and run with it. It's a good thing. Special thanks to Teresa Williams for her efforts with Communities in Bloom. Every time I go and weld carvings for these guys, Teresa sneaks up and takes a picture and tries to get me in there. I don't think people realize how big this group is, same along with John and Victor as well. Communities in Bloom that's probably one of the best groups I love helping in this community because they make our place look better. Not many places, you can give money to groups and stuff like that for fundraising and stuff like that. But Communities in Bloom is a great group organization. I think more people that come to the table and help them too. They're a small organization. I wish I could give them more time. My schedule's pretty tight, but I'd like to give them more time. I think it's a great thing. Also, Scott mentioned about the UBCM. I sat in on an emergency management forum, how 911 emergency calls are going to change. They've switched over to the e-comm system. Another thing that's going to be changing is not only can you phone 911, eventually they're working into a system where if you're in an abusive situation or something like that, you can text 911. It's going to work into that role, so they're working on those situations right now. Networked with other communities, members at different forums and stuff like that. It was great. Every community's facing the same problems. Everybody thinks Hope is the only person or only place that has certain problems. Actually, I think we're very ahead after listening to other communities and some of their problems. There's way bigger problems out there than just what we have in our small community. Another mention was keynote speaker Peter Mansbridge called out Peter Robb in front of probably 2,500 people. Yeah, and said that town loves Ramble. So it was good. He started that off with his keynote speech. Actually, it was pretty good to hear. Coming up with our Advantage Hope meetings as well. We're getting into the work plan meetings. Shannon's hosting with the executive and everybody else on the board. Work plans for the future. We're going to be talking about that. The other thing is the board's looking for more members. So recruitment's looking to get more people on board. So if anybody knows somebody that should put their name forward, the recruitment process is in the middle of being changed right now too, on the stuff being what your application has to fill out and everything like that. So if there's somebody that somebody thinks should be on that board, push them to come on because we've got some pretty good people on board. The Advantage Hope is taking a turn for an unreal direction right now, I believe. They always have been, but for the last year that I've been on, it's almost been a year that I've been on the board now, and the stuff that I can see that board, how they make things happen in this community, I don't think it gets pushed out there enough what they actually do for what we pay for them. So I think that's a big thing. And everything else I think has been going very well. I have nothing else to report.
All right. I got an opportunity to speak at the Ramble event, just to welcome everybody there on behalf of the mayor and council. And I told that story about Peter Mansbridge there. I thought it was a good story to tell because out of 310 or so tickets I think that were sold, the majority of those people were from out of town. There was not a lot of people from Hope, which I thought was actually the best situation. We want people to come from outside the community, and a lot of them stayed for a couple of days, some of them stayed for a week. There's people from Colorado. One guy behind me was from New Zealand. So they came from all over the place. So yeah, that was a really cool event. So thanks for reminding me of that. That was a good one. Yeah. Councillor Smith.
Okay, so attended UBCM, which was the first time I've been at the conference. Learned a lot there about how the conference works. There's quite a bit to it. Excellent networking, discussed a lot of new ideas. Yeah, very full days, let me tell you. You were very busy. Today I met with the Golden Agers Club, discussed about issues with seniors in town. One of the concerns they have is about people doing the J-turns on the street when you're backing up and you don't realize the guy's coming the other way. And that it is an issue sometimes, it's particular in the summertime, but one of the concerns I have. Also, I attended the Grow with Google, which was done by Advantage Hope. Shannon did an excellent job at it. Very interesting, some people from Seminar, Maple Ridge, Chilliwack, Langley, and some people from Hope. Very interesting event. Didn't realize all the things can do, and I wish more people had come there, but it was sure well done. Thank you, Shannon. And then I was at the Fraser Valley Regional District Employee Recognition Celebration. So management boards and employees came together to celebrate employees. We had one employee celebrating 45 years, 2 40 years, and the 145 just wants to work part-time now. Weird. But very, very amazing group of people. They so dedicated to it. It was excellent. So just absolutely awesome. Also met with Jackie Taggart, 6 other MLAs, along with Councillor Tron, for the steelhead fishing and that. It was very interesting. We learned a lot, way more than I ever knew about steelhead and that. And I'll actually let him talk more about that. I want to thank Keith Campbell and Evan Empey for saving the baseball gear from 6th Avenue from the storage. They dug it out and cleaned it up and everything else and gave it to me so we can store it at the rec center for other days down the road. It's all bought and paid for, and I appreciate them taking the time to do that. And also at the Rambo Chainsaw Carving, we announced that next August we have a carver coming here to carve Rambo. So there'll be a Rambo carving in town. There's one in Philadelphia that's bronze, and it is one of the Rocky, that is one of the highest attended in the city of Philadelphia. So there will be a wooden one in Hope. People will come to come get their picture taken because there's nobody else has got one but us. So.
Is Brian going to sleep beside it?
Brian's working on it. Anyway, yeah, it'll be an excellent carving. So we'll have it here. He'll come for a weekend and we'll do unveiling of it and everything else. So, but people will want to come and get the picture with him. So we're just trying to do more of the things to get people coming. I mean, when Van Trump was working very much towards this kind of a thing, so this is one of the things to make a good draw. So, thank you.
All right, Councillor Tron.
Okay, on September 18th, I attended a Chamber of Commerce meeting, as well as we're gonna have one tomorrow night as well. And then, along with Councillor Smith, I attended, Jackie was in town for the Steelhead Fishery Committee, and I'm thankful that Councillor Smith thought of me and included me, because it was a great opportunity for me to be able to pick her brain about what to expect about being a councillor, as well as I was able to absorb what I thought was a lot of information. I knew about steelhead already, but I didn't. I guess I didn't know as much as I thought I did. On September 23rd, I attended my first UBCM conference. Was a little lost as the week started, but began to find my groove, and I had lots of good networking and made lots of contacts. I'm happy with that. October 3rd, myself and Mr. Forlowski hosted Mr. and Mrs. Satori in town. They were in town to discuss our relationship with our sister city, Izu. Am I pronouncing that right? Izu?
Izu.
Izu, okay. We discussed exchange program possibilities with the schools, and also opportunities for local employment as well. Mr. and Mrs. Satori were very excited to hear that we're also working towards sending a couple of representatives their way as well. I don't think we've been as receptive as they've been in visits, because I think, what was it, when was the last visit? You said 19?
Their visit to us.
When last time did we visit?
It was certainly before 2012 when I got here.
Yeah.
As I understand it, was a partial visit by only a couple of people.
And I think they come once every couple of years, I think.
They've come 3 times, and all times with youth exchange, and it's a bigger compliment. So we probably do owe them a return visit.
Yeah, and he was very appreciative of it, as well as very appreciative of the gift basket, Councillor Smith, big one as well.
Yeah. Just to clarify too, he's the Consul General out of Vancouver.
And he's from Isuzu, Japan.
No, he's from Vancouver.
Oh, okay,
From Vancouver.
He's a Foreign Service Officer with the government of Japan.
Understood. All right. Thank you for your reports. Moving on to permits and bylaws. So item A, District of Hope 2020 to 2024 permissive tax exemption bylaw number 1462/2019. The motion is that the District of Hope 2020 to 2024 permissive tax exemption bylaw number 1462/2019 be adopted this 15th day of October. Do we have a mover? Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Tron. Any discussion? All in favor? None opposed? Carried. And item B, District of Hope 2015 to 2024 permissive tax exemption amendment bylaw 1463/2019. Motion being that the District of Hope 2015 to 2024 permissive tax exemption amendment bylaw number 1463, 2019 be adopted this 15th day of October 2019. Mover? Councillor Smith, Councillor Tron. Any questions? All in favor? None opposed? Carried. Item C is back to talking about our declassification and staff report section. So the highway closure and removal of the highway along a portion of Yale Road bylaw number 1459, 2019. So the motion is that the highway closure and removal of highway along a portion of Yale Road bylaw number 1459, 2019, which is to close off a portion of 61614 Yale Road, be ready first and second time this 15th day of October 2019. We have a mover? Councillor Smith. Councillor Smith seconds. Any questions for staff at all? No? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Item D. Oh, it's a long one. Report dated October 15th, 2019 from Director of Community Development. Redevelopment permit for 586 Wardle Street. Should I read the motion first, or do you want to speak to it? I'll read it out first. Okay. That the flood and erosion hazard development permit be approved for the property legally described as Lot 34, District Lot 14, Yale Division, Yale, formerly Hope, District Plan 7892, except Plan E9922, EID 009922652, 586 Wardle Street, in order to subdivide the property into 2 lots and associated construction of a single-family dwelling and approved accessory structures, subject to the District of Hope receiving a satisfactory certified report from a qualified professional confirming site-specific safe building envelopes for the proposed new lot. And further that the District of Hope Community Development, the Director of Community Development be authorized to endorse the flood and erosion hazard development permit and required covenant document. And further that for the purposes of the geotechnical hazard development permit validity period, the conditions of the development permit shall expire on October 15th, 2021. And further that for the purpose of Section 504 of the Local Government Act, substantially start any construction shall mean the successful registration of the subdivision plan for the property at 586 Wardle Street. We have a mover. Moved by Councillor Cron, Councillor Victor Smith seconds, and over to staff for a little explanation.
Mr. Mayor, as Council recalls, June 24, 2019, a report in regards to sending out a notification for a development variance permit for a 3-lot subdivision came forward. The notification went out. The developer was approached by members of the public in that very neighborhood to say 3 lots might be too much. So the developer pulled his application for the variance permit and now has gone with a 2-lot subdivision. It is located in a flood erosion development permit area for the Fraser River.
So I have a question then. Does this need to go back out to the community for consultation or notice? Or is it just move forward at this point?
Mr. Mayor, through you, no it doesn't. There is no variance required now for this subdivision.
Any questions for staff? No? Okay, motion's on the floor. All in favor? None opposed? That carries. Item E, report dated October 15th from Planner 2 and the Director of Community Development, redevelopment permit at 19363 Silver Skagit Road. Motion reads that a District of Hope geotech hazard development permit be approved for the property legally described as 19363 Silver Skagit Road for the placement of a storage workshop building subject to the District of Hope receiving a satisfactory certified report from a qualified professional confirming site-specific safe building envelope. And further that the Director of Community Development be authorized to endorse the geotech hazard development permit and required covenant document. And further that for the purposes of the development permit validity period, the conditions of the development permit shall expire on October 15, 2021. And further that for the purpose of Section 504 of the Local Government Act, substantially start any construction shall mean the completion of the sitting or protective requirements as determined safe by the professional engineer. Do we have a mover? Councillor Smith, Councillor Cron, staff, Mr. Gill, can you explain?
Mr. Mayor, through you, the owner would like to add a storage workshop building onto their property. They are currently looking at possibly installing a prefabricated steel building there.
Any questions for staff? No? Motion's on the floor then, all in favor? None opposed, that carries. Item F, report dated October 15th, 2019 from Planner 2, Director of Community Development, Redevelopment Permit 21462 Union Bar Road. That a District of Hope Geotech Hazard Development Permit be approved for the property legally described as, oh, it's not on there, 21462 Union Bar Road, for the construction of a single-family dwelling and improved accessory structures, subject to the District of Hope receiving a satisfactory certified report from a qualified professional, confirming site-specific safe building envelopes for the property at 21462 Union Bar Road, and further that the Director of Community Development be authorized to endorse the Geotech Hazard Development Permit and required covenant documents, and further that for the purpose of the Geotech Hazard Development Permit validity period, the conditions of the development permit shall expire on October 15, 2021. And further that for the purpose of Section 504 of the Local Government Act, substantially start any construction shall mean replacement of the foundation for single-family dwelling as certified safe by a qualified professional. Do a mover? Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Cron. Over to Mr. Gill for explanation.
Mr. Mayor, through you, the property at 21462 Union Bar Road is on both sides of Union Bar. This contemplated development would happen on the ridge side, more northwest.
Away from the lake?
Away from the lake. And it's the ambition of the developer to have a 2,175 square foot structure.
Okay. Any questions for staff on that one? No? Okay, motion's on the floor, all in favor? None opposed, motion carries. Correspondence, accounts payable check listing, we have that in our agenda package. Motion that the accounts payable check listing for September 2019 be received. Moved by Councillor Smith, second by Councillor Khan. Any questions for staff? Okay. All in favor? None opposed, carried. And receipt of the information correspondence list dated October 15th. Need a motion to that effect. Councillor Smith and Councillor Cron. All in favor? None opposed, that carries. No other pertinent business. Question period. Call for questions from the public for items relevant to the agenda. Nobody has questions for me?
But you were a good reader. There you go.
I didn't think
That's
I
a
would
comment.
be. I didn't think I would be. It's the same thing over and over again, that's why it goes off into the same. Okay, so no questions from the public, so notice of next regular meeting is Monday, October 28th at 7 p.m. in council chambers. And I just wanted to remind council that's here that the next Advantage Hope meeting is on the 21st, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And that's sort of a joint meeting with council and the Advantage Hope Board of Directors to have our update and talk about communications. Anyway, so that, October 21st, 7 p.m. right here. Okay, motion to adjourn the regular council meeting. Somebody wants to adjourn?
Oh,
Second approved, okay.